Someone recently asked me, what does burnout look like? And to be honest with you, it looks very different with different people. Sometimes it looks like you have to cope with your job. I saw a client recently who said he had a really, really stressful job. And his partner was saying that it looks as though to her, like his drinking has increased. And he said, when I come home from work, it's a really stressful job. I need to unwind with a glass of wine. And that's a sign of burnout. Like if you're doing something with your day, with your work day, that is causing you so much stress that you have to unwind from it with a glass of wine instead of coming home and being excited to spend time with your kids, or in this person's case with his wife, that's a sign that burnout is happening because you're not enjoying or living life. I think another sign of burnout could be when you don't feel like yourself. Just something is happening. It's like, I just don't feel like I'm being myself, and I don't feel like I'm the version of me that I want to be. Those are signs of burnout. And I think a lot of times we underestimate and underappreciate how important it is when you have those things. And today, I want to talk about what to do when you're experiencing burnout, and then how you can start to experience signs of recovery. So welcome back to the aha moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott, Connie. I think it's really important that we pay extra close attention to the signs of burnout. I think it's really important that we pay extra close attention to what is going on for us when we're having burnout. But I also think it's very important that we do something about it. We live in a society that I think values accomplishment. I think we value status, money, those sorts of things, instead of valuing alignment, instead of valuing mental health, instead of valuing happiness. I have a really good friend. When we were growing up, he just wanted to be a mechanic. In fact, I was driving one day and I heard a bang come from underneath my car. I didn't hit anything, I heard this bang. And then this horrible screeching noise. Luckily, I was like within a mile of my home, and I drove to my house, and I did not have a clue what had happened to my car. And I went to school the next day, and I was talking about hearing this noise and this screech. And this buddy says to me, I think I know what that is. You probably blew your brakes out. And he said, if you go buy brakes, I can put them on, and that would save you tons of money. And he was probably 16. I was like, how the heck do you know how to replace brake pads? And he said, I used to spend a lot of time at my dad's shop and kind of watching him do it. Like, I know how to do it. Like, you've got to be kidding. Like, I did not know this about him. I knew he wanted to be a mechanic, but I didn't know he had the skills to do this. So I did. I went to the store and I bought the brake pads for like $100. You know, if I'd gone to a mechanic to do this, it would have cost thousands. And it took him about a weekend, but he changed my brake pads on the two tires that needed it. And I remember just being so shocked and amazed that this 16-year-old knew how to do this. And I'd known this guy for a while, and I didn't know he knew how to do this kind of thing. And fast forward life, he told his parents he wanted to be a mechanic, even though his dad was a mechanic. His dad's response was, I didn't work all those years being a mechanic, so you can be one too, and kind of forced him to go to college. Fast forward lots of years, and we reconnect via Facebook. I saw on Facebook, one of my suggested friends was a very young woman with his last name. So I sent her a message and I said, are you related? His name was Aaron. I said, are you related to Aaron? And she said, yes, he's my dad. I said, oh, please, can you get me in contact with him? So Aaron and I started chatting, and I thanked him for what he did all those years ago, and kind of reconnected a bit and asked him how life was. And he said it was terrible for a while. My parents forced me to go to college, to try to get a career. But all I wanted to do was be a mechanic. I love working on cars. It's part of my passion, part of what I love to do. And after about a decade, he went to college, dropped out of college, and got some sort of job. And then he said, I decided I couldn't do it anymore. And I opened my own, he worked at a garage, and he opened his own garage. And now he's as happy as he's ever been. And I share that story to say, like, we get burnout by either doing a job that we don't enjoy, or doing a job that we do enjoy in a way that doesn't fit with us, or in an environment that doesn't fit with us. So the best way that you can do that is to just get back into alignment with either the role you play at your job or how you do it. And you'll start to notice a calm coming over you, a relaxation coming over you, things just feeling right or that they're clicking in place. That's how you know you're recovering. So if you're listening to this and you're experiencing any of those symptoms, make a change and just pay attention to how calm and relaxed and at peace and centered you feel, because that'll be the clue that you're making right choices. I think everybody wants to be successful, but not everybody is prepared to put in the work to do so. There's this thing that we refer to as hustle culture, where you got to work lots of hours and grind in order to achieve success and become like the top of your industry or reach your potential. But for a lot of people, that's unsustainable. Like, they can't do it. But I'm going to tell you, I believe in hustle culture. If you want to succeed, you have to work really, really hard. But here's the key. Here's the trick, if you will. You have to work really, really hard at something you love so it doesn't feel like work. Like, for example, right? To give you an example, I don't love numbers. I'm not good with numbers. I've never enjoyed math. It's just not my thing. So if I were to try, or I guess if I were to be forced to become like a mathematician or a CPA, something that was like heavily based on math, and I were to spend hours upon hours upon hours working at this skill, it just wouldn't fit me. And all those hours would lead me to feeling burnt out. It would be unsustainable. However, I found something that mattered to me quite a bit, and the grind didn't feel like a grind. This grind culture, man, it really is a thing. Like, if you want to be great at something, you have to do that thing repetitively over and over and over again. Long hours, late nights, early mornings, the whole thing. And for me, like, I loved doing psychotherapy. I loved practicing psychotherapy. I loved writing about psychotherapy. I loved teaching it. I loved everything about what I was doing in the world of psychotherapy, specifically solution-focused brief therapy. It mattered to me a great deal. So all those days when I was in my office early and in my office late, it didn't feel like work to me because I was doing something that I loved. I was doing something that was connected to a passion. When I was growing up, I wanted to get good at baseball. So I used to hit in batting cages for hours upon hours upon hours because it didn't feel like work to me. Was I grinding? Was I hustling? Of course I was. But a lot of you can't sustain it, not because you don't want to work hard and not because you're not grinding and hustling, but because you're doing it not as a labor of love. You're not doing it in an environment that really triggers you towards your passion and love. Like, a lot of people, like, they don't love running, but somebody told them you got to run in order to get in shape. So it's like, oh, I'm going to run just the bare minimum. But you got to do the stuff that you love. Like, if you don't love running, go swimming in the gym. If you don't love swimming, go cycling. Like, you've got to do the things that you love in order to be able to put in the hours and benefit from it at a maximum level. There is no shortcut to success. You have to work hard. Like, it's this weird thing. Like, when you work really, really hard, somehow you get more opportunities than others, right? Opportunities, the luckiest people I know are the people who are the hardest working. Like, that's just true. So this hustle culture thing is real. Like, you really do have to work hard. There's no secret to that. Like, you really got to put in everything you got. You got to devote yourself to a level that some people, it scares them. Some people, it makes them nervous. But I would argue that we're all prepared to do it. Like, this hard work thing is something that we can all do. No one, like, can't do it. I just think we have forgotten how important it is to make sure you're working hard in an industry or in a way that fulfills you and that you love. I think too often we're just working hard in like a random way of working hard instead of realizing my first task is to pick an industry that I love and understanding sometimes society is never going to agree with you. Like, when I told people I was going to major in psychology, people that I cared about tried to talk me out of it. You can't make any money doing that, and that a psychology degree is not worth anything. You've got to go to graduate school and no one's going to be able to afford to send you to graduate school. Like, all of that stuff was always told to me. But I stayed majoring in psychology because that was my passion. And I'm so lucky that I did. And I didn't give in to the temptation or the peer pressure that was trying to push me to do something else. So look, embrace it. You got to work hard. You got to grind. You got to hustle. You got to go. Just make sure you pick something that lights you up, that is connected to your passion and your joys, and it won't feel like work. It'll feel like love. In the past few years, my own health suffered. And when I say past few years, I really mean like decade. I didn't realize it at the time because I enjoyed my work, but it was a sign that I was burning myself out. I think we often think of burnout as like a barometer on whether or not you like the work that you're doing or not. But burnout can also be like a literal sense of your body is burning out, like your body is breaking down. And we think of self-care, like literal definition, taking care of self. We think of self-care as an action. Like, and I've seen therapists talk about this in this way all of the time. Like, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I went to the beach and did some self-care. But self-care is really just caring for yourself. And it's the best way to prevent burnout. And I'm going to share some things today that I've never said publicly before about the circumstances that I found myself in from a health perspective, why I'm making some of the changes I'm making, and why I realized I wasn't practicing good self-care. Like, I wasn't taking care of myself. That's the literal definition of these things. And I think being productive is super important. Like, during that time, I was super productive. I built multiple businesses, wrote multiple books, traveled around the world delivering lectures, ran a therapy practice. Like, I was doing all of those things, and I loved it. The reason why I think we need to have more honest and transparent conversations about self-care is because we just don't talk about it in the true sense of what it is. We talk about self-care from just an ability to say, like, do I like my job or not? Do I enjoy what I am doing or not? If I do enjoy what I am doing, then I'm probably not feeling burnt out. But like, we have to talk deeper about this. We have to talk much more about this. We have to go further with that conversation. And the truth is, I loved what I did then, and I love what I do now. Like, that part is not really all that new, and certainly is not all that different. However, there were things going on. Like, I remember, like, I was a workout person before I went to graduate school and weighed about 80 pounds less than I do as I sit here today. And then grad school was fine in terms of taking care of myself and my health, but starting my therapy practice was the real risk factor. Like, starting my therapy practice was when everything changed. I remember not having enough time to go to the gym because I was constantly working and really stressed about getting clients into my office. Like, that was like the number one thing on my mind. It's like getting clients to show up, getting clients to come. I was either seeing clients or stressing out about how to get clients to come to my office. Like, it was literally all that was on my mind. And it stressed me out. It stressed me out real significantly. And over the years, my body would ache. My hair thinned and eventually wasn't there anymore. My skin was not as clear. I remember feeling tingling sensations in my fingers and toes. And I didn't realize that those were signs that, like, my body was breaking down. And I developed really bad habits. Like, instead of cooking meals at home, because I was away, I'd go to my office at 10 in the morning. I'd come back at 10, 11 at night, like every single day, 6 days a week. And I would eat out a lot, and I would not make really great choices. And then I realized, like, I need to take better care of myself. And unfortunately, I realized that after years and years and years of treating my body in that way. But here, like, I'm not even a year into, like, really focusing on my health and really focusing on my body. Gave up soda, don't eat fast food, don't eat fried food, don't eat candy. And, like, I can feel my energy level increasing. And my doctor is telling me all these signs that he was noticing are getting better. And, like, it's just really, really important that you realize, the signs of burnout go beyond just whether or not you like your job or not. And true self-care is taking care of yourself. Like, self-care is not a vacation. It's not like, I did self-care this weekend. It's taking care of yourself. And that's something that you need to do every single day. That does include your job and how you do your job, but it also includes so much more than that. So just be aware. Think about whatever you're doing in your life. Are you taking care of yourself as you do it? And also be aware the signs of burnout go way beyond just whether or not you enjoy doing your job. There could be other signs there that you're ignoring, the way that I was, by not paying attention to it. When I think about being productive, like, as the owner of a business who has employees, I have a lot of responsibility to keep the business productive, but also keep the environment of that productivity, like, healthy for my staff. Like, I could tell them, like, we need to produce at this level or everybody's getting fired and, drive. But that would violate one of the tenets. Like, I need everybody to be productive or else the business doesn't exist. But I need everybody to be happy or else the business doesn't exist. I happen to know people that run businesses and they drive their team, and like literally once every year or two, they have to replace like their whole staff because people don't enjoy being around them. People don't enjoy working there. People don't enjoy the process. And it's important to me that and it's also important to the business. Like, we got to do both. We got to be productive, but we have to enjoy the work that we are doing. If you don't enjoy the work that you're doing, like, what's the point? Like, why are we doing any of this? And I want to talk about like this, the way that I do that. I've been doing this now for several years, and I'm certainly not perfect, but it's something that I think I do pretty well and something that's on my mind a lot. And I want to talk about that today because maybe you run a business and have employees, or maybe running your family. Like, it's the same principles and ideas as the head of a family as it is the head of a business. In terms of the way I manage my team, I really have one principle that I think guides all of the principles. And that idea is, starting this business was my dream. Creating a training organization based upon my work in the therapy space is absolutely a dream of mine. Like, it's something that I just dreamt about. And every single one of my employees is working to make that dream come true for me. And if I acknowledge that truth, then that means my job, my role, my responsibility is to make sure that this is their dream job too. Because they're making my dreams come true, I have no choice but to work to make their dreams come true as well, and make this job their dream job. So in order to do that, I have to get to know them. I have to get to know like what matters to each one, what makes them tick, and let them know that it matters to me. Even if I'm falling short of it, I have to let them know that I'm falling short, not because I'm not aware of it and not because of lack of effort, but because like it's just hard or whatever it might be. But I've got to let them know that they matter to me. I also have to let them know that they can come to me for things other than just the work. And I also have to empower them. I also have to let them know that I trust them to make decisions. I have to let them know that I hired them for a reason and I don't need to micromanage them. I don't need to run their day. Like, I believe in them as people. And I think that they can be successful and remarkable people. And my job is to put them in situations where they are more likely to succeed and win and be the best version of themselves. I think the easiest thing in the world is when you run a business to think about like, just getting the most out of people, and you forget that they're actually people. And the best way to get the most out of people is to help them be happy and positive, because that's when people are at their most productive. I think a lot of people forget this, and they accidentally, I don't think anybody does it on purpose, or I certainly don't think anybody has any ill intention, but we accidentally kind of run our employees or our family members into the ground instead of realizing like, I should get to know them as people and put them in environments where their uniqueness and their personalities are more likely to shine. I should help them grow and evolve into who they want to be. I don't think every business owner thinks about it that way. I don't think every parent that's the head of a household thinks about it that way, but that's certainly the way that I think about it, and I have not regretted it even one iota little bit. I think this is really important in the mission on how you need to get the most out of people and grow a business, and it's how you need to run families as well. Thanks for being here. If you wouldn't mind doing me a super huge favor, I would love it if you would share this podcast with at least one person in your life that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And also don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. And also follow me on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can search for my name, Elliott Connie, or at Elliott Speaks. That's my handle across all platforms. Can't wait to see you tomorrow.